Hey, paisanos! It's the Minecraft bingo thing. I've talked about this in a couple places already, but I wanted to get a specific video kind of going over how exactly this is going to work and make sure that everybody who watches the channel knows that this thing exists. So, a lot of this is probably going to be redundant from what I've already said in the Paper Mario video, but again, not everybody watched that, so I'm going to go through it again. For this month, I've been basically trying to go through different multiplayer session things for the patron stuff, and the only ones that really have had any level of success so far are the, like, Smash Bros. Mario Kart style, so I wanted to do something different here. Been wanting to do something Minecraft related for a while. We had that one server that was up a while ago, and it was kind of fun. Had some good times with that, and then it kind of just died. But, rather than just setting up another server and letting people go loose and do what they want, or trying to... End of sentence. No, rather than just doing that, I wanted to actually organize some kind of, like, competition here, and one of the more common Minecraft competitions is the UHC, or Ultra Hardcore, which is just an all-out, like, survive off the land, PvP, last man standing kind of thing. We're not going to be doing that, though, because those are more geared towards, like, expert players. You have to be really good at basically gathering your stuff up quickly, sneaking around, killing people, being good at aiming, like, being good at dodging, that kind of stuff. And while that is fun, it's not what I wanted to go for here. So, I have a plan for a Minecraft bingo game. Not a completely original idea by any means, but I have some new added twists into it, and I'm hoping that there will be some interest in this. So, before I go into the specifics of how all this is going to work, let me just get the basics out of the way here. The basically, entry to this is going to be restricted to anybody giving $5 or more on Patreon. If you want to join and are currently not doing that, then by all means you can. You're not required to stay with it for any, like, number of months or anything. Like, I'm not going to be a greedy ass and say that you have to give, like, 20 a month for 5 months or more. Like, I just want to have it be a benefit for being in that. So, $5 and above. And, I am thinking of capping this at 20, because even 20 is probably a lot of people to manage. I'll be getting it more into that later, but if I do get more than that many, I'll have to figure something else out later. But for right now, capping it at 20, not necessarily expecting to see that many people, but we'll see how it turns out. So here's how this is going to work. The goal of the game is to fill out a straight line on a bingo card. There's 25 different objectives, and everybody is going to get the same 25 objectives, but randomized into a different order. And so basically, you just have to play through the game and complete as many of these as you can to try to create a straight line, either horizontal, vertical, or a diagonal. The way that this is going to be checked will be by me and possibly a couple other people. I'm pretty sure Joel wants to be one of them. There might be, like, one other person. We're going to be kind of the moderators, not actually playing the game, but just kind of overseeing it and checking on everybody's status. My idea here is that I will be actually just streaming the whole thing, and I'll just kind of be switching from one player to another, just kind of floating around, getting in people's way, like, not actually interfering, but I'll be, like, hanging out, checking what people are doing, and when somebody completes an objective and needs to have it checked, then I or one of the other people will come over, make sure that you did it, and then we'll mark your card off. So, right now then, let me actually get into what all the different objectives are. I want to cover all this in detail in this video specifically, so that everybody knows what to expect, and that there's no confusion over what the different objectives are. A lot of these are actually designed to be relatively difficult. Some are a little harder than others, but I try to keep them around the same general difficulty level, None of them are super easy, so you do have to be pretty familiar with the game, and unless you are a master of everything that is Minecraft, you're probably going to have to look some of this stuff up. I don't expect anybody to know how to do all of this very well. Example for me being redstone, I don't know redstone very well. I had to actually look up a fair amount on how to set this stuff up, so if you don't know redstone, you'll have to look it up. But that's part of the challenge. So, here we go. Starting, these are in no particular order, by the way, but just the order that we kind of came up with them. So, first we have create a hidden redstone door. There are multiple ways that you can do this. It doesn't have to be anything super fancy. I looked up a video on how to make one, and it required, I believe, at least 6 sticky pistons. You can make one with less than that, as long as it is a door that blends in with the background, and you have a way to open it, either with a lever or button or whatever it is. It opens up and it lets you get into some other area. Like, it has to actually lead somewhere. It doesn't matter really what this is. It can be a storage cupboard, it can be an entry to your base, but you have to have a hidden redstone door. It has to be functional. It doesn't have to be beautiful. That's the only requirement on this. Next we have collect the 16 colors of wool. This in itself is not that difficult, but it does require going out of your ways to get some of the more rare dyes. You have to have all 16 colors placed in an arrangement. If you actually have all the sheep, then good for you. You don't really have to, though. But yeah, you gotta get all 16 colors of wool. Next is get the When Pigs Fly achievement. If you don't know what that is, it is an achievement that you get by riding on a pig wearing a saddle and ride it off of a ledge to a certain distance so that it basically takes damage. I think it might have to be like 5 blocks. I'm actually not positive. But the only other thing with this is that just keep in mind, even though it doesn't really make any sense for this to be the case, you do have to get the cow tipper achievement before you can get this one, so don't try to do it before you get leather. But otherwise, that's it. Just get the achievement. If I see that you get it in the chat, then that's all I need to see. I don't need to see you actually do it. Next is the Sniper Duel achievement. This one is gotten by killing a skeleton from 50 blocks away. That's pretty much all there is to it. There are certain ways to try and set this up, but I'm not going to go over those. All you have to do is have a skeleton 50 blocks away, kill it with an arrow, you should get the achievement. As with the last one, I don't need to see you do it. Just as long as the thing pops up in the chat, then you're good. Next we have brew a potion of regeneration. This is going to require some nether adventuring. You will need to get a blaze rod so that you can make a potion, make a brewing stand, and you need to get a gas tier so you can make the potion. It doesn't matter if it is extended or strengthened or made into a splash potion. As long as it's a potion of regeneration, that's all that really matters. Just show it to me and you will get the point. Next is locate a stronghold. It does not... The picture here shows the portal to the end. You don't need to get into the portal. You don't need to activate the portal. You technically don't even need to find the portal itself. As long as you find a stronghold, that's all that's really required of you. As you probably know if you know Minecraft well, there are 3 strongholds in the world. They're all about 1,000 blocks away from spawn. And the seed that I'm going to be using obviously does have them. They are going to be within the borders, so all you have to do is find one of the strongholds and you're good. Next is tame a cat. You do this by giving an ocelot raw fish. There's some other specifics that have to be done along with that. If you don't know them, then you can look them up. But yeah, just get a cat, and then you get the achievement. Well, not the achievement, but you get the point. You know what I mean. Next we have craft an emerald block. It doesn't matter how you get the emeralds. You can do that. You can get them by mining in a extreme hills biome or by trading with villagers. Either way is fine, but you need to get 9 emeralds and craft them into a block, and then you get the point. Next is locate a witch hut. We did check. There is at least one of them within the seed. I'm not going to say how many, But a witch hut does exist within the seed that we're using. All you have to do is find it, and you get the point. That's really all there is to it. This one is basically just kind of go out adventuring and hope that you find it. Next one is make a Diamond Pic with the Silk Touch or Fortune 3 enchantment. This one is something that you're probably going to want to do anyway, because those are the most useful enchantments. Is it enchant? I don't even know the word for it, but whatever. It's, those are always good to have anyway. Fortune 3 more so than Silk Touch, but they're both good. All you have to do is just get one of those and show me that you have it, and then you're good. Next is going to be duplicate this exact banner. I plan on actually having this banner somewhere in the world, like probably at spawn or something. Not positive on that, because if it does exist within the world, then somebody could take it and claim it for their own, or take it and make a copy of it. I don't want anybody to do that. Basically, you have to make this banner. It's meant to be like a sunset over the ocean. If you don't know how to make the different styles of banners, then you can look it up. There is a website that shows you what it's going to look like and tells you the steps for it. It's pretty useful. But yeah, we've got background is gradient going from red to blue. It has a yellow sun with an orange center behind it. White clouds on the top, blue water on the bottom. If you can make that pattern, then you're good. I'm going to be pretty picky with this one. If it's slightly off, then I mean that's okay, but it has to get the general idea across, and if you turn in one that isn't exactly what I'm expecting, I may make you redo it, so be careful that you do it right. Next we have fill up an entire chest with blocks. By this, I mean all 54 slots have to be filled with a full stack of 64 blocks. They do have to be actual blocks. They can't be other types of items. A block is, I'm going to define as any kind of object that you can place in the world that takes up an entire cube shape. So you can't use slabs, you can't use stairs, you can't use cakes. Have fun making 64 cakes anyway, by the way, but yeah, it has to be a full block, and it doesn't have to be the same type of block filling the entire chest. You can have a mix of different things, but it has to be a completely full chest, 64 in every slot. So this is basically the grinding achievement. So this is basically just do what you would normally do and don't throw stuff out, and you should probably get it eventually. Next up we have make a rail system that ends 20 blocks higher than it starts. It doesn't need to be anything more specific than that. The picture here shows a staircase formation because that is actually the most efficient. It doesn't have to be like that, though, if you have extra rail. It can be a spiral, it can be whatever you want it to be. Only requirement is at the bottom of it, you get into a minecart, go onto some powered rail, and then without any further user input, you get up to the top, and your Y-coordinate is at least 20 higher than it was when you started. So I will be riding this to test it. If it works, then you're fine. If it doesn't work, then you have to rebuild it. Next is make a baby horse. You have to find 2 horses, breed them, which involves taming them and giving them golden carrots, and get a baby horse. That's pretty much all there is to that one. It's just a matter of finding the horses and getting the materials. Next is make an automatic arrow shooting device triggered by a tripwire that shoots at least 2 arrows per second. This can be done in a lot of different ways, but the requirements for this one are it has to be activated by a tripwire. It can't be just through a button or a pressure plate or anything like that. It has to be a tripwire, and it has to shoot arrows automatically, and it has to shoot at least 2 of them per second. There doesn't need to be a specific number of arrows in it. It doesn't have to be any faster than that, because it is possible to get at least 4 per second. I've tested this. But as long as you meet those requirements, you're fine. It doesn't have to be beautiful, but it just has to work. I would prefer if it was kind of concealed, but I mean, it's, again, I'm not going to be super picky. Just as long as it works, it'll be fine. Next is another redstone contraption here, making an automatic bridge. The one in this example shows, you can't really tell that well from the background. Like, it's, you can tell kind of in the background, but it's not that clear. This one is making it at least 3 wide. Basically, an automatic bridge is made by making a cobble generator, which is through water and lava, and you have to have redstone and pistons that basically just build a bridge automatically. If you're not sure how to do this, there's plenty of tutorials that show how. Again, there's not any specific way you need to build this. I would say it has to be at least 2 blocks wide. It can't just be a single line. But other than that, I'm not going to make any other requirements. Even though the picture shows 3, I'm not going to require 3. Make it at least 2 wide. And I just have to see it in action, make sure that it is actually working on its own power, and that's it. Next one is collect all the different types of flowers. There's a bit of open-endedness with this one because there's things not pictured here like ferns and dead bushes and stuff like that. Those are not required. These particular types of flowers in the picture, the 10 small ones plus the 4 big ones, are the ones that are required. These are the ones that the game actually considers flowers and not like types of grass. You have to collect all 14 of these, have them all in the same place. They can either be in a chest or planted in the ground, it doesn't matter. But have all the different types of flowers and you get the point. If you don't already know, some of these are biome specific. I made sure that they are obtainable within the seed. As long as you can find them all, then you're fine. Next we have turn a zombie villager into a villager. This is actually a fairly complicated process, but the picture kind of shows how to do it. You need to make a potion of weakness by brewing a fermented spider eye, throw it at a zombie villager, feed it a golden apple, and it will turn into a regular villager. For this one, once it turns into a regular villager, it won't actually be possible to tell that it was converted in the first place. So I need to see this actually being done, or at least see the zombie in its state of transformation. So I would say if you're going to be going for this one, call me or one of the other people over before you actually start doing it, just to make sure that we judge it correctly. But yeah, just do that and you're good. It doesn't matter, like, I'd have no way of requiring, like, what type of villager it turns into or anything. I don't have to see it actually become that. Just show me the process and you're okay. Next one is create a book sprite out of blocks. The example here shows it using wood and wool and stuff. There's a bit of interpretation with this one. It doesn't have to be perfect, but actually, now that I look at this, I just realized my example is not perfect. I missed part of it. There's a little stripe that's supposed to be on the front cover that I actually didn't put into the picture. So it depends on how observant the person judging it is, I guess. As long as it looks like a book sprite reasonably well, then I'm sure it'll be fine. But if it looks like crap, then we're not going to accept it. So just make it look good, and hopefully don't miss details like I did. For this one, I probably wouldn't have noticed that it was missing a stripe, but now I know better, so that's it. For this one, we were thinking about allowing other sprites. It wouldn't be a bad idea just to have more diversity and like creativity involved, but if we did that, then people would just make like a button or like the seeds or something really basic looking. The book sprite is a reasonably mid-level difficulty, easily recognizable thing. I figure like if just everyone makes the book sprite, then that'll be fine. Next one is next one is find a jungle temple. Again, there may be more of one of these in the seed, I'm not going to say. It does exist. If you find the jungle temple, then you're fine. You don't have to be the first one to discover it. You don't have to raid it. Just find the jungle temple and you're good. Next is get 5 dogs. This one's not too difficult. You just have to find them, and you have to have enough bones to do it. Just feed them enough bones until they follow you, have all 5 of them, prove that they are within your ownership, and that's it. This picture shows them all having different colored collars. I'm not going to require that. Just get 5 dogs and you're okay. Next one is, again, this one's kind of, it's going to be, like, you can make it in a few different ways, but you need to make some kind of structure with automatic lighting that comes on when it's dark. In other words, you have to have redstone lamps and a daylight sensor on top of the building, so that the lights will automatically turn on when it's dark outside. Other than that, you are free to do whatever you want with this. I'm not going to really require any specifics here. I would like the house to at least be 4x4. Like a 4x4 space inside that you can move in. It can be bigger if you want to. This one that I show in the picture is 5x5. Not requiring a mansion, it can just be a basic little cabin type of thing, but it has to have lights that come on by themselves when it's dark out. Next one is obviously a bit different looking from some of the others, but this one is, you need to make the Mario song with note blocks. Not the entire song, just the first 7 notes. So, you set up a bunch of note blocks in a row, make them go da-da-da-da-da-da-da. If it does it reasonably well, then you're okay. I am not going to be incredibly picky on this one. If it's if the delay between the notes is not perfect, then that's okay. I would like the notes to be correct, but it has to be automatic. Set it up so you push a button or hit a lever or do something and it plays the notes. Don't have it be like you walk by and punch them all. It has to be automatic. Other than that, that's fine. This one, I will allow more creativity. If you want to do a different song, then that's fine. It has to be at least 7 notes so that it's at least equal with this one. But make it something recognizable. Like, if you want to do like a song from a different game or something like that, then that's fine. Just make sure that I can tell what it is. And as long as you make it, then you're okay. Next one here is... you need to kill a certain number of creepers. At this point, I'm actually not sure what that number is because I haven't done full testing on this yet, so I will be updating this at some point. But right now the number is 50. The way for checking this is because there's going to be a scoreboard set up that counts how many creepers each player has killed. That is the only mob it will count. And basically, once you hit the number, then you're okay. I don't obviously need to see you kill every one of them, but once your number gets up to that number, then you're alright. And like I said, if it's after some testing, if I find that 50 is too high or it's not high enough, then this may be adjusted, but right now it's going to be 50. And the final one is create some kind of automatic farm. Again, this one is really, really up to interpretation. It's not any specific build that you need to make, but basically, here's my requirements. The farm has to include wheat, carrots, and potatoes. It needs to be something that basically collects the crop for you. It's not going to be, like, there's not a way to require replanting it. I think you technically can make something that replants it by having, like, a hopper, like, minecart system, but that's really lame. Like, I mean, it's not lame, it's actually pretty cool, but it's also really difficult to put together, so I'm not going to be requiring that. Just make it so you push a button, hit a lever, or something like that, it harvests the crops for you, gathers them in one place. It doesn't have to have 100% efficiency. As long as it does it automatically, and you get all 3 types of crops out of it, then you're okay. Alright, so that was a very long explanation of all those different cards. So if you sat through all that, then perhaps you are going to join this, I don't know. But now that you know what all the objectives are, if you want to join, then you want to make sure that you know how to do all these things. And here is how registration is going to work. The game is going to be on August 15th, which is a Saturday. We're going to be starting it pretty late. It's going to be about 7 p.m. Central Time. And it'll basically go for as long as it needs to. Now, as you can probably tell from the objectives, the majority of these are going to be somewhat late things that you can do. It's not going to be stuff that you can do immediately after starting the game and gathering your basic stone materials. You're going to probably have to get diamond. You're going to have to get into the nether for a lot of this. So, the game is expected to run for a few hours. So, if you do join, make sure that you're able to stick around for the whole game. Make sure that you don't have other stuff happening, and that you're not going to have to leave halfway through it, because that would be pretty lame. If you do, then, I mean, obviously we're not going to penalize you, but there's other things kind of that are going to be happening here, because I mentioned from the start that I'm putting a cap of about 20 players on this thing, and I'm not going to be tracking 20 different players' cards, because this is going to be, the way this is going to work is it's going to be teams, depending on how many people we get. If it's like 5 people, then it won't be teams, but assuming it's more than that, then it probably will be. And so, Minecraft does have a way of organizing players into different teams with like a color system, and I want this to be kind of cooperative, so what'll happen is if you want to join this, you need to, again, be at least a $5 supporter. You want to send me a PM on Patreon, and tell me what your Minecraft username is, and tell me that you want to play and that you'll be available, and I will put you into a list of people who will be able to join. And then, just depending on how many people do join, that'll determine how the teams are going to work. Because, like I said, if it's more than 5, then it's going to be broken into teams. It'll basically be like, if it's 6 people, it'll be 3 teams of 2, etc. Anything with a prime number, because it won't be divisible evenly, makes things a little bit harder to work with, so I'm hoping that doesn't happen, but there is a good chance that it could. So if that does happen, basically one team is going to have another, like, one extra person, and for that kind of situation, if that happens, then that team is going to have some kind of added handicap, like they might need to get another certain number of objectives added onto their card besides the first line. Like, I'm not going to require 2 lines, but maybe like a full line plus 2 others. I haven't decided specifically, but it'll probably be something like that. And that's pretty much it. At least for the basic idea of how this is going to work. Now, what I have not gotten into yet is the idea of the sabotages, which is the other thing added on top of this. And I'm not going to go into huge detail on this part, because the sabotages are going to be on-the-spot surprises. But here's the general idea, though. As you're playing the game, working towards your various goals, there's going to be times when I will say something through the chat, basically just announcing the first person to do X will get a benefit. A good example that I may end up actually using in the game is the first person to make me a cake. So let's say that I announce this, and Team A makes me a cake before any of the other teams do. They let me know, I go and check. Now that they have done this, that basically means that they get to choose another player or team that will get sabotaged. And that involves forcing that other team to either get their card shuffled around, meaning that they'll have to like rethink what objectives they're going for. They either get the card shuffled around, or they will have to complete some other kind of objective before they can continue. Like, for instance, they have to... I came up with a few ideas of these. I don't want to give these out yet, but one of them is dig all the way down to bedrock in at least a 3x3 square. Basically something that inconveniences them and takes up a bunch of time. So, the way this is going to work is all of the bingo cards are going to be publicly visible. I'll probably either have... I would like to show them all during the stream itself, but it depends on how many people are playing. If they're not, then there will be some other place where they'll be visible, I'm sure. I'll figure that out later. Sorry. But basically, you'll be able to look at the cards, see a team that's maybe getting ahead of everybody else, and you can try to sabotage them and slow them down a bit so that you can catch up. Like I said, I'm not going to announce what all these are now because these are going to be surprises, but there's going to be cropping up every once in a while. Just kind of be prepared for stuff like this to happen, and when it does, then try to be the first to act on it and hope that you don't get screwed over. I feel like this is going to just add a bit more chaotic fun to the whole mix. It makes it a little bit less straightforward, adds some rivalry going in. Hopefully it'll be fun and not annoying. But I'm just trying to think. I believe I've gone over everything necessary here. So just to recap, you've got the 25 different objectives, went over all those in detail. We've got the sabotages, which I won't go over in detail yet. Up to 20 players. PM me on Patreon if you want to join, at least $5. Going to be on the 15th, about 7 p.m. Central is when it will be starting. I will be streaming the whole thing. Like I said, me and probably Joel and maybe one other person are going to be kind of judging and viewing the whole thing, commentating, that kind of stuff. If it isn't a team, then it is up to the individual players to get in contact with each other, so that if you want to be in a Skype call, you can do that. If you don't want to be in a Skype call, you can just talk in the Minecraft chat, but that'll be more annoying because you will want to be whispering. If you don't whisper, then not only does that mean that other teams will know what you're doing, but it's also going to kind of hog up the chat, and if we have a whole bunch of people playing, that's going to get really, really hard to keep track of, not only for the players, but also for the judges, because we need to see when people are doing stuff. So, if you're in a team, make sure that you can contact the other players, and try to be in a Skype call if you can. We are also looking into getting a TeamSpeak server, so it's you don't have to add specific Skype contacts, everybody will be in that. We'll just have to figure out how that'll work later. And the deadline for submitting to this is going to be Saturday the 8th. If you are not in before then I will not be adding you to the list. So make sure that you get it in soon if you want to do it. Last but not least, there is actually going to be a reward for the winners. If it's, whether or not it's singles or teams, it doesn't matter. The winning people will get $20 towards any game. Like, just like I did with the Conquer contest thing. It can be Steam, it can be Nintendo Shop, Microsoft, Sony Shop, whatever it is. Get $20 free game thing. Second place gets $10 for that. So there is an incentive to join it and do well. I don't know if that will make more people want to play or not, but it's there. And I think I've gone on for long enough here, so yep, let me know if you're interested. Any questions you have about this, post them in the comments.